Windows 2022 server, and also I shall show you how to install Active Directory on that particular server. Okay, so I shall install it on my VMware workstation in a host machine. So I have installed configured a VMware environment. You can see that previously I installed VMware ESXi NAS and VMware by ESXi and other hosts. Now I am going to install one Windows 2022 server. So click on File, click on New Virtual Machine because I am going to create a new virtual machine where I will install the Windows 2022 server. Workstation version is 17.5. Okay, I will install the operating system later because now I am only creating the VMware. Okay, so the guest operating system means the operating system which I am going to install, that is Microsoft Windows 2022, Windows Server 2022 version, and the virtual machine name will be Windows Server 2022, which will be reflected here. And where I am installing, I have to select a path for that. So right click on it and I will create a new folder, server 2022. Here within this server, in this folder, I will install this VM. Okay, click on next. UEFI mode I have selected, and the number of processor and number of core processor is 1. Okay, so here for creating the virtual machine and installing the Windows Server 22, I am taking the memory size as 4 GB. Okay, so 4096 is the exact MB. Click on next, and I will as I have created a VMware workstation environment where I am maintaining the as network address translation option, means NAT option. So I will create and I will select this NAT option. Okay, so click on next and SCSI with the hard disk type. Okay, next click on next. I'm creating a virtual machine on that. Okay, so 2 GB will be the okay. So before that, I want to add one thing that for Windows 2022 server, the minimum requirement as per Microsoft that is 2 GB of RAM. But if you want to run all the components in a Microsoft Windows 2022 server, including domain and forest and all the DNS, DHCP like that, these components, then you need minimum 4 GB of RAM or 8 GB of RAM. Okay, so better I will take here the RAM 8192, 8 GB of RAM. Okay, click on next, next, and the minimum disk size I am having 60 GB. Okay, so what I will do now, I will create a single file here. Okay, click on next. So browse, and I need to go to in that part, that is documents here, virtual machine Windows 2022. Okay, click on save, click next, customize the hardware just to check for that 8 GB RAM and processor 2, number of processor I have taken 2, and the CD-ROM drive here I will select the ISO image file for putting the virtual from that ISO file, and it will be mounted like a CD-ROM drive. So the ISO image, I have to find the ISO image here. Here is the ISO image. VMware ESX. Here, okay, server. So my virtual machine is ready. Okay, so click on finish. So let's power on the virtual machine. Okay, now it is asking for the bootable disk. I have started this one uh, ISO file, uh, which is mounted in the CD-ROM drive of the virtual machine. So our Windows 2022 server is going to start again. The installation is started. Okay, so click on next, install now. So setup is starting. It's showing setup starting. Okay. So what I will do, I will select the Windows 2002 Data Center version. I will install an evaluation version now here, just for test lab environment. Okay. Select I accept Microsoft license terms. Click on next. The custom Windows option, installation option. Select the 60 GB drive, what I have already taken for my virtual machine. This virtual machine. Click on next. So now it has started installing Windows 2022 server. It will take some time. Uh, we'll go to the next screen. Now I am pausing the screen. Okay, because it will take a little bit time. We will jump to the next step when the installation will be done. So now our Windows 2022 server is almost installed. It is finishing up now. Okay, uh, so I will share you the minimum hardware requirements for installing the Windows 2022 server. Basically, you can note it down that the processor is required 1.4 gigahertz, mm, and the minimum RAM is 2 GB for the server, for desktop experience, and for only server experience without desktop, that is 512 MB, and the network NIC card is required, minimum bandwidth 1 Gbps, and a minimum hard disk will be 32 GB. So this is the minimum hardware requirement. I will send it in my description link. Okay, so now it has started getting ready, and it will take a little bit time. In the meantime, I can click on I finished installing option. Click. Okay. So before installation of Active Directory, I want to share a few points to you. That before installation of Active Directory in any server, Windows server, first you need to create a specific host name for that server, to assign a specific host name and a specific static IP address to that particular server. Okay, so these are the main row of prerequisites for installing Windows 2000 server. So now it is asking for the built-in administrator password, so I shall set it here. Click on finish. So click on cursor is not moving basically. Uh, so click on VM and send Control Alt L. So the built-in administrator password I have to type here, what I have already said just now. So first time the login screen will come of Windows 2022. So the server, so it is creating the user profile now, desktop environment, personalize the desktop environment. So here is our Windows 2022 server. It is ready. So what I am telling basically that uh, just to check, just to assign the IP address. What is the IP address? I have to, what I have already told you. I have to assign the host name to particular server and the static IP address. Okay, so let's check what is the IP address it has taken by default from our VMware environment. And cpa.cpl. Okay, properties. First of all, configure this one. Okay, before that, just check what IP address it has taken. It has taken 134, 159 to 134. So I have to change it. I have to assign the static IP address. And as this IPv6 is not required in our test environment, so I have unchecked it. And TCP IP4 v4 properties. So 192.168.29 12. Okay. So 192.168.29. Okay. So DNS I will give it later because now this is a test environment as you know, and I will create a new domain here. And first of all, I will create during installation of AD. I will create a new forest, a new domain, and as well as the DNS will be installed in this particular server. And after installation of DNS, I will write the configure the DNS here. Okay, so click on OK, close. So hostname, I have to configure the hostname now. Okay, so go to File Explorer, click this PC properties, system, change. And here, suppose I am giving the implement as a 22 as okay. So that is the host name I have set it. So it will ask for restarting the computer. So restart it. Okay, restart now. So it will restart and it will uh, start again. So now we will install AD, DNS, these two components from the server manager. Okay, so consent control description is right here. Server manager window will open. Yeah, it has opened. Now features, role-based features, role-based or feature-based installation. Select components, trust, add features, click So it has been started AD and DNS. I've selected the Active Directory domain service and DNS and started installation of Active Directory as well as DNS server in this particular Windows 2022 server. Okay, so it will require some time to complete the installation. After the installation done, we will do the steps for post installation configuration of Active Directory. So there we have to configure the DNS and Active Directory also. So what installations are done? Active Directory, this is the list where it is showing Active Directory domain services, DNS server, group policy management, and remote server administration tools. So the installation is completed. Okay, installation succeeded on Windows 2022_80. Okay, close. So here now I have to do the post configuration steps. You see the yellow marked exclamation sign, click on it and it will show the post deployment configuration. Okay, so promote the server to a domain controller. Now it is a normal uh, uh, PC, normal server, so I will convert it to domain controller. So I can call it that promote the server to a domain controller. Okay, click on it. So here are the three options. Add a domain controller to an existing domain. If there is any existing domain and you need to create install one additional domain controller, then you have to select this one. Otherwise, add a new domain to an existing forest. Forest means there are a number of domains are there within a forest. So if you want to create another domain within that forest, child domain within that forest, then you can select this one. But in our case, in test lab environment, where we are going to create a new forest and a new domain as well. So we will select the third option and we will give the name of the domain as techlabtechno.com. Okay, so click on next. So now it will create the TechLab Techno domain and it will uh, create the DNS name also, NetBIOS name also. NetBIOS name will be automatically fetched from the domain name you have assigned. Okay. So the forest functional level and domain functional level is by default Windows Server 2016 and above, and this domain controller has the below mentioned capabilities: domain name, system, DNS server, and it is a global catalog server because it is a new forest and it is the first domain controller of the forest and the domain. So it must be a global catalog server. Okay, what is global catalog server? That we will discuss later. Okay, so now the directory service restore mode password I have to assign here because why directory server restore mode? Directory server restore mode is required when suppose your Active Directory is malfunctioning and you need to restore from your previous backup. In that case, you need to log in directory service restore mode to do the restoration process. Hmm. So uh, directory service restore mode password should be different from the existing password also. Okay, so click on next. A delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authoritative parent zone cannot be found. Because it is a first domain and the first forest, there is no other DNS server installed in this domain. So DNS delegation option should not be selected here. Okay. Otherwise, if there is any other domain and it is an additional domain controller, I'm going to install this as an additional domain controller, and already one domain DNS is there, so we can delegate that DNS. But in our case, we should not select this one. Okay, click on next. So it will fetch the NetBIOS name by default TechLab Techno. Okay, So it has already taken the name. So click on next. Uh, so all the uh, database folder of AD will be installed in NTDS folder C, Windows NTDS folder. Log files will be also installed on NTDS folder, and the sysvol folder is required because the group policy and all these things will be installed on sysvol folder. Okay, so click on next. So just a review for once, configure the server as a fast active directory domain controller in a new forest. New domain is techlabtechno.com. NetBIOS name is techlabtechno. Forest functional level is Windows Server 2016. Domain functional level is just Windows Server 2016. And global catalog, yes. What is global catalog? The global catalog is a feature of Active Directory that allows a domain controller to provide information of any object. Means suppose uh, what I have told, the global catalog is a feature of Active Directory that allows a domain controller to provide information on any object in the forest, regardless of whether the object is a member of its domain or domain controllers with the global catalog feature enabled are referred to as a global catalog server. So that is the thing. Okay. So now we click on next, and it will check the prerequisites for installing configuring the to promote the domain controller, to promote to a domain controller, or to installation of the Active Directory domain service. It will check the prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? Prerequisites means whether you have specific um, uh, DNS, means IP address, static IP address is there or not, specific uh, mm, services you have installed, checked or not, on all these things. Windows Server 2022 domain controllers have a default security setting named allow cryptography algorithms. What is cryptography algorithm? We will discuss later. A delegation for DNS server cannot be found because authoritative parent zone cannot be found, as I have already told you. So prerequisite completed. All prerequisite checks passed successfully. Click on install. Okay. So it has started to install the prerequisites. I mean installation of AD. Okay. Actually, global catalog, you can say that global catalog means uh, it holds a full set of attributes for the domain in which it resides, and a subset of attributes for all objects in the Microsoft Active Directory first. In our case, it is the first Active Directory of New Forest. So this uh, global catalog server will contain all the attributes of the Active Directory. Okay, and the object. The object means the resources and that will be under this Active Directory. Maybe printer, computer, laptop, servers. All these network objects belongs to which will be under this Active Directory. This Active Directory, some attributes will be installed if they are the member of this domain, then those attributes will be kept here in the global catalog server. So, and in the forest, there may be multiple global catalog server, and all the global catalog server will retain those attributes. Okay. So you are about to sign out because your Active Directory is installed, and it will restart the server, and now the first time you will be logged in as a domain administrator. Okay. So let's come to the login screen first, and then we will log in as a domain administrator. Okay, the first time. So it is coming now. Settings for the first time. So it is taking some time. Uh, let's pause the screen and I will jump to the next screen when the session of domain controller will come. Then it will ask for the, it will go to the login screen. So now login screen has come, and we need to so send the control 10 button. So now it is showing the lab techno domain has been created, and it is the administrator is under administrator at the tech lab techno. Okay. So password I have already set for that is type the password, and first time we have logged in as a domain configurator, domain administrator in the domain configurator. So now what we will do, first we will check in the go to file explorer and click on it and click on properties and check the host name and the domain name. You can see that it is showing the domain name, computer name, click Windows, and so you see it is what is showing Windows 2022 underscore editor techlabtechno.com. Okay, domain is techlabtechno.com. Okay, that is our domain, test lab domain. Okay, so now what we will do, we have to configure the DNS properly. Okay, because if you open the CMD and if you type nslookup and if you type techlabtechno.com, what you will find that the DNS is particularly not configured, and it can only resolve the name of the domain from the name to IP address, but it cannot resolve the name from IP address to name. So for that, we need to do two things. One is we have to configure the DNS properly, and we have to assign the DNS address in the server. So first thing first we need to configure the DNS. So DNS management, DNS type DNS ngmt.msc command. Here it is the DNS server showing Windows 2022 AD. You can show the forward lookup zone. It is already configured. techlabtechno.com, and here is the pointer record. It is showing the host showing 192.168.159.12, and it is a static IP address. Okay, but if you go to reverse lookup zone, that's why the name to IP address it can resolve, but the way IP address to domain it is not properly done. It is not done, so we need to create the reverse lookup zone as well. So right click on it, the reverse lookup zone, click on new zone, click next, click primary zone. Here primary zone means creates a copy of a zone that can be updated directly on this server. Means suppose any DNS client in this server directly, if you add the host records that DNS client, it will be directly updated to this zone. That is the primary zone. Secondary zone means create a copy of a zone that exists on another server. If suppose the DNS server is configured in another server, it is an additional DNS server, then this option helps balance the processing of load of primary servers and provides fault tolerance. Means suppose the DNS client will be excessive. In that case, both the server will work as a fault tolerance. And suppose one DNS server is down, then in that case, the other DNS server will resolve the queries of the DNS client. Okay, and the stub zone. Create a copy of zone containing only name server, start of authority, and the possibly glue host records. A server containing a stub zone is not an authoritative for the zone. Okay, we will discuss later. Okay, store the zone in Active Directory server available only if DNS server is writable domain controller. In our case, it is the same. So click on next. So here two options are there. To all DNS, select how you want the zone data replicated. To all DNS server running on the domain controller in the forest. To all DNS server running on the domain controller in this domain, techlab.com. So in our case, to all DNS server running on domain controllers in the forest, okay, because this is the only domain controller in the forest. If suppose other domain will be there, then in that case, this second option will be there, first option will be there. In our case, we can select either of the two. So I have selected the first one. Okay. Because IPv6 I have disabled, so in our case IPv4 reverse recursion will be considered. So what is the network? Network is 192.168.159. Okay. So click on next. So allow secure dynamic updates. Allow both secure and non-secure. Both non-secure, secure and non-secure we will select. Dynamic updates of resource records are accepted from any client, whether it is the member of this domain or only the DNS server address is the client is only using this DNS server address. In that case, both secure and non-secure dynamic address I have selected. Click on next, finish. Okay, so here, so now I have to create one pointer record. Okay, so to click on new pointer, the IP address of the host. Here I have I have to put this IP address of the server 12. Okay, and the host name. We go to click on Technolab and the host name will be showing here. Okay, so click on OK. It's 15 or 12. That should be same. Remember 12, no? 12. Okay, so okay, this one. Okay, allow any authenticated users to update all DNS records with the same name. Click check on it. Okay, then here it is. Now if you type nslookup, see the change. nslookup techno. One thing I have to do before that, ncpa.cpa type this, and we need to assign the DNS server address here. Here it will show the local address. So loopback address is showing because this is the local server and this is the DNS server. So I need to assign the DNS server as 192.168.159 and 12. Okay, so okay. If you click again and cpa.cpl, you just show, it will show the domain. It should show the domain. Okay. Now, one thing you need to do, you need to restart the DNS service also after assigning that DNS management and start the service also. Okay. Yes. Now it is done. Your ready, uh, and controller is also ready. So you now do ns lookup lab techno.node. What you will show, it is showing the domain controller name, and it resolves the query of IP address to name and name to IP address. Okay. So if you query the name Windows 2022 that's called AD dot, so see, or if you query 192.168.159.12, then also it will show the domain controller. Okay, so your DNS is also ready, your domain controller is also ready. Now if you type dsa.msc, so you will see this is your domain controller. Okay, and these are the organizational unit. By default, users, when you install domain controller, these users are already installed: enterprise admin, domain users, domain administrators, okay, domain computers, domain controllers. These are the various users, and all users have their own one. This is the built-in administrator, okay, of this domain controller. And this is, I think this is done. We are done with the installation of domain controller, and we can use one more IDSI edit.msc. If you add connect to this domain controller is select a distinguished name. So you just type the domain controller's name. Click on OK. Yes. Just a minute. It's not like that. Distinguished name. Okay. Yes. Showing. It's not working properly. Just a minute. Select it. Select a type distinguished name. Now, yeah, there it is. You can go to this one. The same thing you will show here. From this window, you can delete, add any computers or any users. Okay, so that is done. So we are done with the installation of domain controller now. Okay, thank you. So we will see in our next video how to add users, how to create users, how to create computers, how to do the domain joining. It's a lot for now. Bye bye.